Let's move to Parliament right now. The majority in Parliament has accused Speaker Alban Bagbin of impatience in asserting that the legislature is broke. The Speaker yesterday cautioned the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, not to treat Parliament like other MDAs by requesting for budget cuts and starving the institution of funds. Addressing the media this morning, Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre revealed 25 million cedis allocation for goods and services for Parliament, which had been outstanding, had been released while the Speaker was telling the whole world the institution was broke.
This delay is not unique to this Parliament. It happens, and more often than not, a lot of work had been done by the leadership, and here I'm talking about the two leaders. So yesterday, or even a day before, I was in touch with the majority leader before he left for Kumasi. He gave me heads up in terms of what communication had gone on for the releases to Parliament. And he tells me he had apprised the clerk of Parliament and then the chief account officer, Mr. Dan, about it. So they all had a foreknowledge of the processes involved and the fact that the releases had been done. I'm talking about a 25 million outstanding goods and service to Parliament. So yesterday, when the Speaker was lamenting, indeed, officially, the release had been effected. It was just going through the process. The communication often comes from Finance Ministry. It goes to Controller. Controller does the releases. It goes to BOG before it hits the account of Parliament. That is the normal process. So the process had kickstarted. And so it was just a matter of few hours for it to hit Parliament's account. Interestingly, I think around 2 to 3 p.m., I got a confirmation from Parliament that the money has indeed hit the account. So I'm quite surprised that, I don't know if it's because the clerk failed to update the Speaker accordingly, because the Speaker's statement was a bit presumptuous. And I with the greatest respect to him, he has exercised a bit of restraint. I think that he may not have made that comment, the Parliament.
The Speaker is, however, not taking such accusations lightly. Speaking on the floor, Alban Bagbin took strong exception to such pronouncements, including a similar one from Majority Leader Chairman Sabonsu, who has been granted media interviews. Bagbin warned the Swami MP this should be the last time he counters his pronouncements as Speaker.
National business. And the quality of the politics, particularly with regard to the health of political parties, seriously impinge on governance of the country. And so we should take our political parties seriously, because they are a very strong pillar of the governance of the country. And so it's important that we factor that in, particularly in whatever we do as a house. And I want to call on all Ghanaians to take this thing seriously. The second point I want to raise is that leaders of the House, as I just said, are leaders of the House. And they support the Speaker, who is the leader of Parliament, not just of the House, of Parliament. And Parliament goes beyond the House. It's an institution and an arm of government. And the spokesperson for Parliament is the Speaker. The Majority Leader speaks for the House. And the House is made up of what? The members of Parliament. But Parliament includes the parliamentary service and the supporting institutions like health, like the police service, like the fire service, like the national security, and other state institutions that render services to Parliament. This is the arm called Parliament as an institution. In fact, in the UK, it's made up of the Queen, it's made up of the House of Lords, and it's made up of the House of Commons. That is the institution of Parliament, and that is why it's sovereign. Well, it's inclusive of even the Queen. The Prime Minister is part of the House of Commons, and so he's part of Parliament, and Parliament is supreme. In Ghana, Parliament is not supreme. We're subject to the Constitution. And so it's important that when the Speaker speaks from the chair, the leader of the House, that is the leader of the members of Parliament, is not seen to be the one countering what the spokesperson of the arm of government says. And if they want us to give documentary evidence about the non-funding of the House for this year, we will provide them. So when I heard that the leader of the House has gone on air to say that what I said is not true, it saddens me. In response to what I said yesterday, the government proceeded to release money yesterday quickly to the House to enable the House function. There's evidence to that.
My colleague Parker Wilson, who is a correspondent for us in Parliament, has joined me with more. Parker, what really sparked this confusion between the Speaker and the majority?
Sorry.
Hello, Parker.
Hello, Aisha.
Tell us what really sparked the confusion between the Speaker and the majority side.
Aisha, you recall that yesterday the Speaker filmed over the fact that the Finance Ministry is treating members of Parliament like MMDs and also some of the agencies and the ministries as well. And he wouldn't take it lightly and asking that they should release every fund to Parliament with immediate effect because Parliament is not running efficiently. Now, this morning, the Majority Chief Whip then held a press conference debunking the allegation that Parliament is broke. He was of the view that as at the time the Speaker was speaking on the floor of the House yesterday, about 25 million had already been disbursed to Parliament. It was going through the process. So if the Speaker had taken his time and cross-checked with the Clerk of Parliament and, of course, the leadership of the House, he would have known that the monies owed Parliament had been paid. And so some of these things should be minded and be very careful when he's going in public saying some of these things. That notwithstanding, the majority leader, we are told, that also granted interviews to some our sister stations and also made the same point about the Speaker of Parliament trying to give the government a bad name because of what happened. So the Speaker's attention was drawn to particularly the interview the majority leader granted, not necessarily the press conference by another press. So that was when he made the point that, listen, I'm not going to tolerate this. I am the Speaker of this House. When I speak as the chair, the Speaker of this House, sitting in the chair, I do not want anybody, especially from the majority side, to counter my pronouncement or my declaration. They won't take that going forward because consistently the majority leader has been challenging his authority and questioning him, sticking to one way or the other in the view of the Speaker, undermining his authority. And this time around, he will not sit down for the majority caucus, particularly the majority leader, to undermine him. And that is why he gave that warning. And I must say that when he said that, it was quite clear on the faces of the majority caucus that they were not happy with the Speaker's pronouncement. And so the majority chief whip was, at the time, leading the House because the majority leader and his deputies are not around, then moved on, didn't really comment back on what the Speaker said. So that's how it ended. There was no further pronouncement on the situation in Parliament.
My colleague Parker Wilson there in Parliament will certainly bring you more from that House in our subsequent bulletins.